Welcome back. Over the years, Partout has seen its fair share of friendly faces.
And up next, I speak to two of the most iconic faces we have, Gary Arnold and Darla Montgomery. Here's just a portion of our interview.
Well, off and on about 34, 35 years, I was on Partout. I started with Jim Olivier. Jim kept coming to me saying, Gary, I would like someone from the news department to do the news, because at that time, Jim would tear wire copy and he would read it himself and do it in French and English. And one day, Jim Barron and Maria Placer said, well, we'll let Gary maybe do it on Partout.
So I did Partout for 5 years. I did the weekends for about 2 years before that, and started anchoring with Gary, to be honest.
Yes, on the weekends, as a matter of fact.
Gary was so willing to help everyone. But the fun times that we had, it ranged from having penguins on the set, chasing those penguins, Gary whispering on the side, no, go this way.
There's a lot of moving parts in the show, and a lot of things that you don't see that are kind of funny. And Darla,
What?
I have to say this.
Uh-oh.
One morning.
Now we're in trouble.
No, Darla's cool.
Oh, thank you.
We're speaking back and forth, back and forth. All of a sudden, Darla's eyes got real big, but she was kind of cool about it. And went to commercial break, back with more Partout right after this, and said, Darla, what's the matter? She said, there's a wasp right on top of your head. So I was doing that entire segment with a wasp just going, hey, you know. But
one show we used to have, obviously, cook in the kitchen. We had the Partout kitchen, and we were cooking our favorite recipes. And I made a dish that my mom, it's my favorite dish. It was eggplant casserole, and there was a spice that you put in it. And I was on the show not paying attention, and I overspiced it. And when I tell you overspiced, if you smelled it, your eyes would water. This one, the professional that he is, he tasted it, and I could tell something was really wrong by the look on his face. And he's like, "This is really good, Darla. And like tears are like rolling down his face, but he was such a champion. He said, no, the dish is really delicious. It was just a little too spicy.
what am I doing now? I stay at home and I eat candy all day. And no. The last day of Partout, I said something that I didn't know that would come to pass. I said, I'd like to do something in tourism. And so a job came up with the Department of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism as a travel counselor at the Chaffalay Welcome Center at Butte La Rose. Worked with a great group of people. I mean, they took me under their wing, and just couldn't be working with nicer people in the world.
It's a perfect fit.
It's truly been an honor, and it really has been, to carry on this tradition of Partout, because this has been people's lives. And I've found that out since I've gotten out of the business, how much a part of the lives of the people out there who watch it, how much it means to them. And it's truly an honor to be a part of it through those years. It really was.
And it is one of a kind.
Absolutely.
There's nothing like this in the rest of the country. World. I'm going to say world.
Universe.
Yep.
And like I said, that's just a portion of the conversation I had with those two. They had so much to say about their time on the morning show.
Oh, wow. Talk about, you can catch Chris's full interview right now by visiting our website, klfy.com.
In the next story, you'll see how one former Partout anchor turned her childhood dream into reality. But it didn't come without hard work and dedication, but most importantly, support.
For Street Corner Camera, I'm Lori Moe now. Back to more News Scan.
Lori Steele, known as Lori Moe at the time, started her career in 1991 right out of college. Committed to her childhood dream, she worked her way up to being a household name.
I would not give that up for anything. I would do it again and again.
It was at Channel 10 where she met her husband and the people who would tremendously impact her career for the next 10 plus years.
Laura, let me fix your hair right here.
What happened?
No, nothing.
I had the Gary Arnold to help guide me in that way. He knew all about Acadiana. He knew the history of the show. My husband was a veteran in the news agency. We had Blue Rothfuss, Darla Montgomery, all of these amazing people that I grew up watching, and I had to sit in front of Maria Placer. She's behind her desk in this chair, and I'm in this tinier chair. And she said, do you know how many people come in here, blonde, and want to be a reporter and an anchor? And I said, yes, ma'am.
Finally given the chance, she began to prove she was right for the role.
I was working on weekends, nights. If there was an opportunity for me to do something that I hadn't done or hadn't learned to do, then I would do it.
Lori went out into her community every day, covering all types of news. Her most favorite, human interest stories.
You whistle a little bit for me? Do you need some help?
I like to leave people with a feeling of love or kindness or motivation to go out and do something different. So I love telling those stories.
From the field to behind the desk, her new role, connecting to the community every weekday morning as the Partout anchor. Lori says it was in this position she learned the importance of accountability.
One morning we showed up and nothing was working. There were no computers and it was a 3-hour show. Gary and I were pins out and we were trying to do those news segments. That's when I learned to ad-lib, to stand on my feet, to pay attention outside of just your job, right? You have to know kind of what's going on in the community outside of what it is that you do.
Looking back years later, Lori says what she remembers most is the support she received from her colleagues and community.
When I got married and I was pregnant, folks from the community would come, they'd drop off blankets. Those people are still part of my life today. And it was just a great time, and it just showed what Acadiana was really about. It was family, it was good old Southern hospitality, it was kindness, and it was just forever in my heart.
When we come back, we take a look at the impact Partout had on Acadiana's culture when it came to language, music, and food.